Well, Razorback fans, last night's basketball game could be a cause for alarm for Razorback fans. Should it be, though? Let's talk about it in today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I'm also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday as we are at the midway point of the week. We'll get into some Razorback football coaching search talk and think about when's the next time the shoe is going to drop for Razorback fans, because I know that they're pretty up in arms about that, and always on the ready for when it comes to any of the craziness going on there. But we'll get into that, and then we'll also get into a little bit of the crowds at Bud Walton. I know. We got to talk about it. But I did want to lead off with shaking it up. I mean, Razorback basketball is still going on, and football coaching search has been on the forefront of many people's minds. In fact, when I went to the Razorback basketball game last night, the vast majority of you were asking me about the football search. Came up to me and was like, who are we going to hire? And I just, used the same old lame joke that I like to use, be like, hey, you might be the next head coach. So again, there'll be time to talk about that. But what transpired last night in Razorback basketball is not something I ever want to see again. I don't want to experience again. It was scary. I compare it to, I love movies, and I'm sure a lot of you do as well. Do you ever have those movies that you see once and you like it, like it's good, it's fine, but you never want to watch it again? I feel like that way with like Passion of the Christ. It's like, hey, it's a good movie. I saw it once. That's it. The Revenant, same thing. Saw it once, good, but never want to see it again. That's how I felt last night's game was for Razorback basketball. Not saying it was good, great, but it's a game I never want to see again. I'm even like nervous to watch War Machine's highlights. It was so bad. Arkansas wins 84-83 though, by the skin of their teeth. They ended up getting this victory. And what was, without a doubt, a frustrating game, because Winthrop, who's who they played, by the way, I guess I should mention who they played. They hit 15 threes. 15 of 31 from three-point land. 15. That's stupid. 48.4%. And what's crazy is of the 15, all but 2 of them came from 3 players. Rozier hit 7 of 10. That dude, he looked like Kevin Hart out there. He was like 5'2", and he was just killing it from 3. He goes 7 of 10. Clouette went 4 of 6. Like, Arkansas's defense was just garbage. It was not good. It was not good. It was one of those times where you just get frustrated because I don't know basketball as much as some of you do. I don't know the game as to the high level that you do, maybe. But I know some of the basics. And man, just felt like Arkansas was getting beat with the basics. Pick and roll, like simple situations, simple things of, communicating on defense, putting a hand up, not leaving your feet on three-point shooters. The basic things that just kept happening over and over and over and over and over again. And it nearly cost you. Arkansas is so fortunate, so lucky to have won this game. So lucky. Arkansas went on a 5-0 run, I believe, or 6-0 run in the final minute of the game, essentially. They were down by 5, and they won by 1 point. And luckily, they got the turnover, and it led to a Nick Pringle layup, which we'll talk about what transpired after that layup here in a second. But it was just tough, man. It was tough. It was a tough watch. Meleek Thomas, he saved your bacon. He had 26 points, 10 of 20 from the field, 3 of 8 from three-point land. Also had 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Great game out of him. I mean, he had his moments, but great game. Honestly, Trevon Brazile was the player that was phenomenal in this game. About as solid as you could ask. 14 points on 5 of 6 from the field. Made all 4 of his free throws. Had 8 rebounds in this one too, which was great. He threw in 1 assist, 4 block shots, 1 steal in 35 minutes. He was great, man. You had him, and then you had Nick Pringle, who played pretty solid too. He had 13 points. He made every one of his shots, 5 of 5. Also got 7 rebounds, 2 block shots, 28 minutes of play. But the rest of the team struggled mightily. Darius Acuff, not his great stuff. He got 12 points, but he was 3 of 10 from the field, 5 assists, 3 turnovers. Carter Knox was not himself. He has 9 points. He hits his first 3, but had only 3 rebounds, a few turnovers there. DJ Wagner, it wasn't his game. 0 of 5 from the field, only 2 points, and it was made on free throws. And he gets 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 block shot, 1 steal. So I guess he at least went in there into the mix, but still it's just not great. Not great. They don't know how to play defense right now. They don't look connected that way. I still think they're going to be fine, folks. Like, they're going to be fine. I still believe in that. But these are the issues that you don't want to see from a team that was able to have a good amount of retention from the year before, mixed in with some other great players. Malik Ewan's one of those guys where you're just like, man, like, what's going on there? What's going on there? I don't think anyone was expecting Malik Ewan to come in and be this absolute force and having to count on him, but it just looks like he's lost out there at times. And I'm not saying that in any insulting way. I'm just saying that that's kind of the situation you're in right now, that nobody really feels or flows well. And, offensively, you scored 84 points. You should win the game every single time, and you did. But it's the defense that was so concerning. So concerning. But I'm going to give them credit, man. They kept fighting. They found a way to win at the end. And John Calipari, though, when he was talking about the communication and what they need to do, here's what he had to say.
That and no one's afraid of us. Why is that?
Not physical enough at all.
They're not afraid. They're coming in, push them, shove them, go rebound. They're not going to rebound on you if you're bodying them. We got it. And again, it's not on these players. It's on me. The one thing we did at the end out of a timeout, like one of the first things we've executed this year, bypassed and Nick threw it into TB, and we end up getting, that basket, which was a huge basket, by the way. But execution, how about we may go back to how you guys grew up, if any of you really ever played basketball, where you had to pass it 5 times before you shoot it. You all that do that? I think we're going to do that. 8th grade shit. We're going to go 8th grade. You got to pass it before 5 or 6 times. Coach Knight had a lot of fun doing that. That's how they played. The ball's moving, you're screening, and until we get to this, you're not shooting the ball. I mean, I'm not talking about transition. In transition, we're as good as anybody in the country. But until you rebound better and defend, you're going to end up playing them doing this and you coming down quick. You saw the first play of the first half. It's almost like I got to draw stuff up to get them to go from one side of the court to the other to do it. It's on me. It's not on them. So I got a lot of work to do.
There you have it. A lot of work to do. A lot of work to do for the Razorbacks. Again, I'm not saying that I'm in panic mode. It's a struggle. But on the bright side, Arkansas did win a 1-possession game. I'm sorry, I had to. They did win a 1-possession game, though. And that's all that matters in the end is they won. Because as I've always said about these games, folks, at the end of the year, when they're doing NCAA tournament seeding and they're deciding where you're going to be and all of that, nobody in the committee is going to be like, okay, Arkansas, we would have put them at a 3 seed, but I think we're going to drop them to a 4 seed because you guys remember that game that they barely won against Winthrop back in November? That's not the team that we want to have up there. No, they're going to say, did you win or lose? Okay, you won, get in. So that's the thing that matters the most. You won. You did maybe not deserve to win. I do not want to see that again. You got a lot of work to do. Duke's going to be coming up here in about a week. You got one more game before that in Jackson State, but lots of work to do. And as far as what happened at the end, I wish I could play the highlight of it. But there was some bench clearing almost. You got a lot of ejections because number 51, who was a punk in this game, I'm just going to be honest, a punk. This guy, he was causing all types of problems in the game. He was barking at DJ Wagner when he blocked a shot, which I'm surprised they didn't tee him up. And I'm not making excuses, because that was something where it was intentional, looking down on him. He was in the mix, and then after Pringle made that layup, he just got mad. You could tell he just lost it, and he kind of put Pringle in a headlock, acting like he was on with the ball, and then just threw him to the ground. And that was one dude I wouldn't want to mess with. I was on team Nick Pringle in that. And that's something that's scary because, and I mean this, that could have ended up being so much worse. There's people that can snap. And Pringle, he held his own and he put it together. I'll give him a lot of credit. But man, there's some guys that if you do that, they snap. And then suddenly the players come out and then there's some pushing and shoving. Then the cops have to run out there and it ends up being melee and nasty. So hopefully that Duncombe kid guy or whatever gets suspended or something like that, because that's just uncalled for. That's unacceptable and it should not happen. But I appreciate Nick Pringle for doing that. And my hope is that this is the type of thing, this is the type of energy that can really set this team off. Maybe something like that can rally around the end of the game. That mess, that nonsense. Maybe, just maybe, that's something that can happen. I'm hopeful. We'll see what the rest of the season. There's a lot of season left. But it's a win, right? It's a win. And I'm going to talk about the Bud Walton atmospheres because you all bring it up to me. It was talked about all last night, and I have a thing. I have another thing that I feel like can really help it. So stay with us here on Locked On Razorbacks. All right, Razorback fans, the NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything: who will score from the next fourth quarter comebacks and who will be able to score the rest of the way. There's just so many different things that they can do. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when you receive your first $5 bet. So head over to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I know we'll talk some football coaching search here in a bit, even though there's not really many updates, at least at the time of this recording. But I will give you a little bit of tidbits on things. I went to Bud Walton last night, and I just went by myself. Curtis was busy with some stuff, and Andrew was out there with his fiance for her birthday, and so I just went solo because I wanted to be there and try to watch the game. And it was pathetic, man. It's just the crowds are pathetic. And for some reason, there's been people that have tweeted at me that said, "Hey, man, it's always been like this in the midweek," and I'm like, "No, it hasn't. It hasn't." There are people that say, well, Northwest Arkansas, huh? How about you step it up? No, it's not a Northwest Arkansas problem because you have 19,200 season tickets sold, and that's it. And those season tickets are sold to everyone across the state. Everyone. So people who buy season tickets, I know people who bought season tickets who live in Little Rock or Central Arkansas that don't go to the games in the midweek. I don't blame them. I understand it. But it's just sad. It's sad seeing the team run out when you have John George on the call. These are that whole thing. And there's 500 fans in the stands. It's so disheartening. And there was a little run last night in the game that brought a little bit of energy for the first time I felt in Bud Walton. You could tell the team fed on it. And it just really made me feel like, man, that's what it needs to be. But the lack of student section leadership, the student section was trash. I gave them a lot of praise, but there was no students there. There was just a lack of any energy to for anyone to do anything. I mean, at the end of the game, there was too. So it's like it calls for it on occasion. But I just look around and I'm like, there's no other school that has this issue, folks. There's no other major basketball program that has this issue at all. Like that thing wasn't even half full last night. And it's so sad because I know, you know what Bud Walton is and what it can be. But I can't just, it goes back to the whole administration outlook on it. I mean, that's really what it's got to be. And I feel like, you know, I kept talking to myself about it last year, and even a little bit this year, where I'm like, man, I'm just not going to talk about it as much because there's nothing that can be done. And I had kind of a change of heart. And it's like, I think that this crowd, not the crowd, this problem needs to be bullied. Bullying can work. This problem needs to be bullied. This problem needs to be embarrassed. It needs to be put up on social media all the time, every game. When the crowd looks like that, whether it's by me or others, it needs to be put up there. It needs to be a talking point. It needs to be publicly shamed. Because to me, that's the only thing that you're going to be able to do in order to restore some sort of energy, some sort of anything back into that building. Because obviously the U of A doesn't care. They don't care. You know how I know why they don't care? Because they do nothing to help the problem. I saw a thing the other day. Missouri is doing a deal to where you can get, for $5, bring in any size of a bucket you can into the game and fill it with popcorn for $5. Sounds stupid, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. But you know what? It's something they're trying to do. But you can't do that at Arkansas. You know why? Because that would mean they'd not have the money for the popcorn that you're already paying that's overpriced. Not going to do that. They don't care. They don't listen. The Bud Walton atmosphere means nothing to them. Because they're not trying anything. I mean, honestly, truly, have you all seen anything that they've tried to do? Like tickets, for instance. I'm having to be ticket master over here, and I don't mind doing it. I have given away a ton of tickets to Razorback fans that can use them, and I get them from so many of you very nice Razorback fans that say, hey, I can't make it tonight. Give them to some Razorback fans, and I'm gladly going to give them to any Hog fan that can make it. But the U of A has done nothing about it. They have this email that you can send, but there's no sort of understanding that this is a problem. There's no sense of urgency behind it. They got their season ticket money, so they don't care. Why would they? Corporate sponsorships are out the wazoo between everything. Everything's sponsored. Everything got a segment, so you can't let the flow of the game go. It's awkward and it's uncomfortable. And anything that they do try, it's like the most minor things that you can tell they have no idea what they're doing. Meanwhile, your athletic director isn't even at the game. He's on ESPN doing the college football playoff chairman stuff. Great. Still bothers me that that's happening. And that's just loud. You're in a football coaching search that is the most important one of your entire school history. You got an atmosphere that is absolute garbage. Nobody's showing up to games. Everyone's mad. Everyone's uncomfortable. Meanwhile, you're on ESPN. Great. Doing something that has nothing to do with Arkansas. That's a great look. That is awesome. This just gets allowed. This just gets allowed. Why? Don't know. It's just the lack of care. And, you know, I don't know why it's this way. I had people all around me. I didn't know these people. But every one of them was talking about the crowd and how bad it was. You know how embarrassing that is? You know how embarrassing that is to have John Calipari as your head coach and you can't even fill your arena half full? You know how embarrassing it is to have a top 25 team and you can't even get people to get psyched and pumped about that? I'm not saying it's just on one person. It's a collective group. But instead of just letting it go, maybe we come together as a collective group and communicate with how we can fix this problem. Crazy idea, I know. Crazy. Heaven forbid you communicate with your fans, figuring out why people aren't showing up to games, why season ticket holders are just letting tickets go to waste. Maybe just try to figure something out. Because at the very minimum, it at least shows that you're trying. Shows that you're trying. But I am sick of showing up to Bud Walton Arena and getting irrationally angry. Seeing what's being done. I mean, you might as well be painting graffiti in there and vandalizing the dadgum place. It's a shell of itself. And it wasn't long ago where it didn't used to be. If you cared about it, you'd do something about it. If you cared about it, you'd listen to your fans. For once. And make it better. But instead, you got your money, sit on your hands, who cares? So aggravating, man. It's just so indicative of the entire athletic department right now. Can't wait to talk about the coaching search. We'll do that next, so stay with us here on Locked On Razorbacks. All right, Razorback fans, we know that college football is in full swing, as well as the NFL. You got college basketball, got the NBA, got all that. You're excited about it. You're excited about all your favorite sports coming around. And I'll tell you what, if you need to go to the games, which I know every one of you should if you can for the Razorbacks, you got to use the Game Time app. It's the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute ticket prices at the best price, or last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. And anytime you pull up the Game Time app in just a couple of taps, you see all the amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite college football games for as low as $25. It's the app made super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat anytime that I'm buying, and you can do the same thing. So take the guesswork out of buying college football, college basketball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. So the next shoe to drop in the coaching search, what is it going to be? When is it going to be? How is it going to be? Well, time will tell because we're just sitting here hanging out. Again, your athletic director is on ESPN. I have felt so strongly about this coaching search when it comes to my approach about it and trying to, keep it all up here and in check for my own mental well-being. But it's like I went to the game last night and so many of you came up and asked me, hey, who the coach is going to be? Who the coach is going to be? Which is fine. I'm not aggravated by that. I'm just saying it's on everyone's mind. And when something's on everyone's mind and it's been on there for a long time and it's so important, it can deteriorate. It can make people feel a certain way. People start believing things that aren't true and all of that. And so we're sitting here with 2 games left of the season. Yes, you still got football games to play. About a week and a half away from what you would think inevitably would be a coaching hire. But I'm going to tell you something, folks. If you want to know what disaster looks like, what it could look like with this coaching search, get to that Monday or Tuesday after the season comes to an end. After that Missouri game, very beginning of December. Get to that point and still be without a coach. You've had all this time You've had all this time to do all of your due diligence, to do all of your research, to do all your fundraising, to do all of these things. And if you end up being one of the last programs in the SEC to hire a coach, similar to what it was with Sam Pittman and all that, you're a disaster. You're a disaster. And I have a feeling that could end up happening. Timing is crucial. We keep hearing names get thrown around. It's going to be Eric Morris of North Texas this time. Alex Golish, Ryan Silverfield. Maybe. I just can't get behind considering what I just went off about and just the little minor things of an atmosphere at Bud Walton Arena, which, by the way, they ran out of paper towels in the first half of the game in the bathroom. And it's just, and I'm complaining. I'm done. Point is, there's just so many things wrong that are not well ran, that are not organized. And so how am I supposed to believe that the coaching search is going to be? How am I supposed to believe that? How am I supposed to feel that way? Well, it's going to be less than 2 weeks. It better be less than 2 weeks. Better be happening soon. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. Because if what was reported last week true from Pete Nakos, it's like, oh, we haven't talked to anybody. Haven't gotten any serious. I beg your pardon. You better be. It's just hard not to be discouraged. It's hard. Like, what do you do right? What's good? What's good about the direction of the athletic program and the athletic department in general right now? Some of you will say, well, basketball, baseball, that's fine. But it seems like things have lost a little bit of a touch. We know the issues that's going on with baseball and some of the funding there. Some of the other sports, they get funded the way they're supposed to. The communication's terrible. The fan relations are terrible. The atmospheres are terrible. What's good? You're going to make me believe that the coaching search is good? I hope it is. I hope it is. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns you may have. Keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. See you then.